Blackhawks fall 5-1. Oh, on home ice against the Florida Panthers. Although I prefer to look at it as Blackhawks get three of a possible 6 points against three of the best teams in the East. Well, I don't know if you could call Florida one of the best teams in the East this season, but they've won back-to-back cups with this roster, so minus Barkov. Welcome back to the Blackhawks Conversation postgame show. My name's Ryan McGregor, all that stuff. I'm here after every single Blackhawks game. Um, yeah, some things to go over in this game. The score is a lot worse than how the game actually was. Um, so going into this one, night starts. You have Florida on the second half of a back-to-back with travel. Hawks have been off, obviously, at home. And there was a little bit of line juggling that happened prior to this game. And I was excited to see this in action. But Bertuzzi down to the third line. He played with Dickinson and Mikheyev. Second line, Green, Nazar, Lardis. First line, Moore, Bedard, Burakovsky. So more on the wing. So the second line really intrigued me. Green, Nazar, Lardis. I liked the idea of Moore and Bedard together, but I don't like either of them on the wing, so that makes it challenging. I think I've always said it, Bedard's a true centerman. Don't put him on the wing. And we've definitely seen this season that Oliver Moore is at his best when he's playing center. And to be honest with you, I don't think we saw great games out of either of them tonight. I don't think we saw great games out of many of the forwards tonight. This was a game where I was happy with the defensive game. Well, I was happy with the defensive game in the first 40 minutes. Things did kind of unravel in the third period. But basically, going into the third period, we had a 1-1 game. So it was solid defensively after the first 40. Offense was a challenge. Bertuzzi got a goal with 30 seconds left in the second period to tie at 1-1. It was a really, really good keep in by Wyatt Kaiser. This goal does not happen without Wyatt Kaiser. Kaiser keeps the puck in at the line. He gloves it down, throws it forward to himself, skates onto it, maneuvers through two Florida Panthers forwards, makes a really nice pass across to Andre Burakovsky, he makes a really good pass to Bertuzzi in front, who corrals it beautifully and puts it in the open net. So it was a really nice goal in a night that offense was near impossible to come by. I mean, the only other time I really noticed the offense, it wasn't on any of the three power plays. It was right after Florida made it 3-1 and the Bedard line started this sort of um, push offensively, and it was followed for a couple of shifts, but that was about it. So other than that, I there was not much offense in this game from the Blackhawks, really from either team. Like I mean, Florida did a good job defensively, as they do. And I thought Chicago also did a really good job defensively. So both teams struggled for offense tonight. And then, like I said, that's why the score of 5-1, I don't think accurately, uh, sorry, represents how this game went. Shots were 25-20 for Florida, pretty close. Both teams didn't score on the power play. Florida was 0 for 1, we were 0 for 3, and that is an issue here. The power play has struggled. Um, I had it noted down here somewhere. Maybe I didn't. I didn't have it noted down. The power play is like, no, I did have it noted down. Yeah, so the power play was 0 for 14 over the past 6 games coming into this one. They're now 0 for 17 in their last 7 games. So the power play is going through it right now. Something's not working. To me, it's the same complaint I've always had with the power play. I don't like the zone entries. Um, we're slow. The pushback, I already just don't like to begin with, but we've been even slower on the pushback. I don't like the way Levshunov specifically approaches the pushback. I think he's a bit too careless with his passes, his drop passes. You see it a lot where he'll skate up to, center ice to do the drop back, but he doesn't he doesn't try to put it right on Bedard's tape because it's usually Bedard he's dropping it to. He'll kind of just throw it back there, and a lot of the time it causes Bedard to lose all of his speed because he has to reach or pivot or stop for the puck. And that's just one of a couple things that bug me about that. So the power play is going through it. Something needs to change. I don't know. I don't know if it's you take Levshinov off the top unit, or they had Nazar out there tonight. I don't. Maybe you ride the hot hand and you give Moore and Lardis a try, but Lardis plays the same spot that Bedard plays on the power play, so I don't really know how that would work. Plus, you have Bedard not taking faceoffs right now. So I don't know. I'd like to see them change some things. I mean, they could ride it out because at one point this was a really good power play. So I don't know. There's a few options there, but the power play definitely was an issue tonight. Um, and I just think Bedard didn't have it. I mean, Florida did a really good job of shutting down Connor Bedard. Um, and they didn't even have to shut down Connor Bedard on his game. Like, I just didn't think he had it tonight. He didn't have that extra jump. Um, his shoot first mentality wasn't there as much tonight. Um, I just don't think he really had it, and that's fine. Like, you're gonna have off nights. It just sucks that it came on a night where none of the other forwards could really generate much offense, um, which sucks. But there is a positive here that I want to look at. The Chicago Blackhawks in their last 3 games, they've played on the road against Carolina, then they played Tampa, and then they played Florida. And they got 3 out of a possible 6 points over the span of those 3 games. And now they win a game that they really have no right to win. And then you have a hard-fought game in Tampa where you get a point. And then you have a game at home after traveling again, or no, sorry, at home um, against the twice defending Stanley Cup champions, and you play right on pace with them. You play solid defensively for 40 minutes, and then yeah, it does go to trap in the third period. So like I like to look at it in this 3 game chunk, and I'm happy with it. It was like I said, it was a good effort tonight. You just had it, you let in 2 goals in the first, what was it? 7.5 minutes of the third, and that just took them out of it. I mean, you have an empty net goal to make it 4-1, and then you have just a well-placed shot with barely any time to go to make it 5-1. So again, that's what I mean by the score didn't dictate the game fully, or the score didn't accurately represent the game and how the teams played here. Um, and I think part of the reason too, like that Chicago did look good tonight, and that um, they were somewhat successful in the first 40 minutes, and they weren't out of it sooner, is because Florida was on the second half of a back-to-back. That definitely could be um, one of the reasons. So another stat I wanted to point out here, just to keep things kind of positive right now. The Blackhawks have 50 points. It is currently January 25th. They've played in the arena of 45, 50 games, somewhere in there. They have 50 points. They didn't reach 50 points until the 71st game of last season. That's from Greg Boysen on Twitter. That's where I got that information from. They have 50 points. They didn't reach it until 71 games last year. So, to all the people out there who are frustrated with Kyle Davidson, who think this team is going nowhere, who are tired of losing, that is quite the jump. That is a bigger jump than we could probably ask for. You want, I mean, going into this season, a lot of us were asking for a 5 to 10 point increase in the standings. Just kind of show us any sort of progress here. And what are we on pace for? How many points are we on pace for? I don't know, but it's a hell of a lot more than we had last year. So just to the people out there who are unhappy with Kyle Davidson, and they're maybe unhappy with some of the progression from the young guys, I don't know how you can be, by the way, but there's people out there who are. I think there's people who don't want to be happy. Um, to me, that's ridiculous. I mean, call this season what it is. It's been a great step forward. You hate to lose these games. You hate to drop further below 500. You hate to drop farther from that wild card spot that we were in for so much in the first couple months of the season. But just you got to think big picture here. You got to think big picture. Um, it's the plan isn't just this year. The plan of this rebuild is to be good. Maybe it'll take a couple of years, but things pan out. It seems going to be good for a long time. To me, I'm happy with this season, and I'm happy with the way players have developed because we've had some surprises. Look at Ryan Green, Louis Crevier, Oliver Moore. I'd say has probably even exceeded some expectations. Nick Lardis maybe has exceeded expectations. Spencer Knight just proved that he absolutely is the goalie that we thought he is. So bullet dodged there. Yeah, there's a lot of positives. Connor Bedard, he didn't have it tonight. He hasn't been the electric superstar that he was at the beginning of the season since he came back from injury, but that's fine. He missed a lot of time. Give him a little bit of time to get it back. Um, yeah, just it's a tough loss tonight, but just trying to stay positive and remember where the team is this year, where they were supposed to be, and the direction they're headed. I got a couple questions from Twitter. If you weren't aware, I take to Twitter after every game and I ask if anybody has any questions. So if you want to have your question answered in one of these post-game shows, go follow me on Twitter and respond to that tweet, or tweet me at any point throughout the game and say it's a question for the post-game, and I'll definitely answer it. So the first question we have here is from Rob. Can we trade Burakovsky already? Man, I I wouldn't. I I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I totally understand the frustration. Um, like he has not been good for a while now. Um, he was really good to start the year with Bedard, and we haven't seen that as much. Obviously, like he's not going to put up the same numbers he was at the beginning of the year while Bedard was out. But Bedard's been back; they've played together, um, and we just haven't seen it from him. And to me, like yeah, the numbers aren't there, and that would be forgivable, but for me, I feel like there's a bit of an effort issue. Um, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time when there's a turnover or when one of our guys loses a foot race, it's him, especially in the offensive zone too. You see a lot of guys. I mean, look at Wyatt Kaiser. Just compare Wyatt Kaiser's effort levels to Andre Burakovsky's. It's a complete 180. I like Andre Burakovsky. I do. I really liked his chemistry with Bedard at the beginning of the year, and I really want them to get that back. I really do. But um, we haven't seen it yet, and I'm hoping it's just. I mean, every player has slumps. I'm hoping it's just a slump. Um, we'll see. I don't know if a team is going to take that 5-year deal. Um, but hey, who knows? Maybe some off maybe to me like to me if they're gonna move him that's an off season kind of move, but knowing Kyle Davidson, he's stubborn, he likes his draft picks, he likes his signees. I wouldn't anticipate Andre Burakovsky being moved anytime soon. Um but yeah, I we've all been frustrated with him, myself included, obviously. Another question we have here is from Calvin. Do you think do you think we're seeing fatigue catch up with some of our players? I think so. I mean, let's look at some of these guys. Okay, so we have Levshinov, you have Nazar, you have Moore, Lardis, Green. Who am I forgetting? Spencer Knight. What all these guys have in common is that they're all playing more hockey this year than they've ever played in a season their whole life. Spencer Knight has already started more games this year than he has any other year. A handful of those guys I mentioned have come from college, where they only play a couple games a week. And the other portion of those guys came from the AHL, where again, it's only a couple games a week. And I mean, I'm not a player. I've obviously never experienced this firsthand, but you hear it and you see it too. The schedule adjustment from going to any other league to the NHL is it takes a toll, and I think it's quite the I don't know if I would call it a learning curve, but you have to adapt, and it's hard on players who go from playing, on a Friday and a Saturday night to all of a sudden playing 4 games a week, playing back to backs, playing 3 games in 4 nights with travel. Um, so I think for sure, like I think fatigue might play a factor because you have guys maybe getting a little burnt out who haven't uh, played, with the schedules like this before. I mean, look at Bedard. Look at one of the things Bedard learned from his first 2 seasons coming into this one. He learned to lessen his workload, get off the ice a little bit more. Don't overwork yourself because it's a long stretch of hard, intense physical hockey throughout the regular season. And I think a lot of guys have to learn that this year. Most of them having come from college and AHL. So I definitely think that fatigue could play a factor in this team, and I would not at all um, be surprised if it did. And the last question, more of a statement here from B. Sakura. I don't think Spencer Knight had a great night. I agree. Um, I don't think he was terrible. Um, like the first goal, the Bjorn foot goal. Um, I don't really blame him. Like, it's a wraparound. It's a blatant missed cross check. I mean, it's the same thing as who scored for Detroit? The overtime was it Kopp that scored an OT winner for Detroit the other week or so? He's alone in front with the defenseman. He cross checks the defenseman down to the ice, and now he's alone in front of the net, gets the puck, he scores. Similar to that, where the Florida player just bulldozes Grizzlick over. Uh, and Bjornfoot wraparound, and because of the cross check, I think Grizzlick sliding into Spencer Knight a little bit made it difficult for him to save. It might have gone off Grizzlick, I don't know. So I don't fully blame him on that. Um, the Samoskevich goal, though, the 2-1 goal that they got early in the third, it's a wrist shot from, mid to top circle, no traffic. It squeaks just under the arm of Spencer Knight. Like, that's one, you kind of want to save. He got 90% of it, not enough. That's one that you kind of want to save. And that's one that, we've seen Spencer Knight make it a lot of times. Um, the Carter Verhaeghe goal, I could let it slide. It was a couple really nice moves by Rodriguez, and you have Verhaeghe kind of on the fly putting it home. But again, it's one of those where we've seen Spencer Knight make that save a lot of times. Um, and then you have the empty net goal, and then you have the Bjorn foot goal, his second goal, which was just a beautiful shot over the right shoulder. But yeah, I don't think Spencer Knight had a great night, especially to his standards. We've seen him win us some games, and he could have won us this game. I don't take that as I was expecting him to win us this game, and I'm disappointed that he let in a couple goals in the third. Um, our offense was nowhere to be found. That is one of the biggest reasons we lost this game. No offense, nowhere to be found. Absolutely nothing. Power play was dog shit. Sorry for cursing. Um, yeah, so there's obviously some negatives to take away. Like, I don't like the way they played the third period, and I didn't like the offense, but there's positives too. Like I talked about if you look at the last 3 games in a chunk, I'm happy with it. You get 3 of 6 points against the Bolts, the Canes, and the Panthers. There's a back-to-back in there. You're on the road. Soderblom is starting in there. I like it. You told me you get 3 points of a possible six against those teams, and in that um, under those circumstances, I'm happy with it. So, um, yeah, who else had a good night here? Let's look over. Yeah, I wanted to mention Wyatt Kaiser. I thought Wyatt Kaiser had a really good night. I'll give him my Player of the Game award, even though I don't do that. Maybe I should start doing that. Who's your player of the game? Comment down below who your player of the game is. I think I'm going to give it to Wyatt Kaiser tonight. I already mentioned his effort on the goal, but he had a lot of really good defensive efforts too. There was a play where I forget who it was. Somebody couldn't get it out. It gets kept in at the blue line. The Florida player goes to make a pass. They're at the uh, top left blue line. They go to make a pass across to the bottom of the right circle. It would have been a clear one-timer, open net. If it's on net, it's a goal. And Kaiser dives and blocks it with his stick, a diving play, and then gets up. And so I thought Wyatt Kaiser had a really good game. He was breaking the puck out clean. He was skating well. He was noticeable offensively. And one thing I love about Wyatt Kaiser, watching the games on TV, next time the Hawks are on, I want you to pay attention to this. Count how many times you hear him on the ice yelling, Artie, Artie. Like, he's constantly yelling for Levshunov to, like, do something. He's saying, like, "Get ready, Artie," or "Low, Artie," or "Skate it, Artie." Like, he communicates so much, and I think that's why he's so good with Levshunov is he's so vocal out there, and he's able to I don't know how I was gonna finish that sentence, but he's so vocal, and he's really good at communicating on the ice, and I really notice it a lot. You just hear him constantly yelling Artie, and I love that he's constantly communicating with Artie because if anybody needs it, it's Levshunov. Yeah, that's about it for me in this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game. If you weren't aware, like I said, I'm here after every single Chicago Blackhawks game doing a post-game show. So be sure to subscribe, join so you don't miss a single post-game. Um, yeah, that's it for me. We'll be back again in a couple days, and I will see you then.